are back here with 49ers owner, CEO, Jed York. How do you like to be introduced? I'm always just like head dude in charge.
Just Jed.
Just Jed.
Just Jed.
Okay, well, Jed is here with us. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kay.
Are you here to yell at me about having Deebo on my show every week to talk honestly about what's going on and give me great sound bites?
I love Deebo. He's awesome. He's very raw. He is very, very to the point. I mean, I don't know if you know, but Lynch went down to the locker room at halftime, and tense halftime, right? You're down by 17 points. And he said Deebo was just sitting there, just shaking. He's like, just tell Kyle to get me the damn ball. And I mean, that's who Deebo is. Like, he's just ready to take over a game at any point. And I'm very, very glad that he is on our football squad.
Wow, and after the game, you could see there was this like uncorking of emotion out of him that I've really never seen.
Yeah.
And there's a lot pent up from Miami.
Yes.
At Super Bowl 54. Now, you've been here before. What about this feels new?
I don't know if it's new, but this squad is just different, right? I think having a core of your group that was here in 2019 coming back, I think it's more of this is about business, right? Like, this isn't the first time that everybody is going to step onto this stage. And we have guys in our locker room that we don't have to go to Joe Montana, Steve Young, guys like that have done it before they were 49ers. You have guys in the locker room that have been on this stage before. And I think that just helps you kind of calm everybody's nerves a little bit. Got
it. And when you see that the matchup, there's so much excitement, and you look at that it's Kansas City, does it make you happy? Are you glad it's them, or are you like...
Look, I mean, I love Clark Hunt. I think he is one of the greatest people in the National Football League. If you don't love Patrick Mahomes, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. He is the greatest football player on the planet. I mean, they're the best organization in the league. They've been here so many times, and it's an honor to play against them. And if you look at the schedule at the beginning of the year, if you have a chance to play Kansas City in February, you might not love that matchup, but you will take that experience every time.
How does the competitive nature between the two of you manifest itself over these 2 weeks? Are there texts? Do you see each other? Are there like gifts sent? Like, take me into the world of the upper elite competitive trash talk life.
I saw Clark. We were passing at the opening night at Allegiant Field, and we just kind of gave each other like the bro hug handshake type thing.
Like coaches after a game.
Exactly. Okay. Like, you don't quite know what to do. And I just said, congrats, man. And I said, it's an honor to be here playing against you guys. And just congrats to you and your family.
But there's no when the matchup gets set, you're like, it's on, send.
No, I mean, and that's a difference. I know we were talking a little offset about the other football. So Leeds United, you actually sit next to the visiting owners, right? You have lunch with them beforehand. You come in like during halftime, and you're in the same room.
I like that.
There's no way I could do that with Jerry Jones. Like, that wouldn't work.
Why'd you pick Jerry Jones of the 31 owners, Jed?
Big rival, Cowboys. I mean, it would just be hard for me to do that with anybody in the NFL.
I played a clip on my show from 7 years ago when you were having to make tough decisions, Kelly, Balky, the whole nine. It's 7 years later now, and you have turned this team into greatness, where it deserves to be where it was once under your leadership, of course, before. What are you most proud of from that 7-year stretch till now?
I mean, honestly, it's a culture that we've collectively built. And knowing Kyle, knowing John, they understand what the 49er way is. Whether directly or indirectly, they were both around sort of 49er disciples, where Kyle's dad was with us. John was never with us, but played, I think just about every stop in his career was a 49er disciple, whether it was Dungy, Denny Green. He played for Bill for a year at Stanford. So you have a sense of what it means to be a 49er. And they have their own adaptation of it and what it means to be a 49er in 2024. But it's still that same core and that same heart and that same principle that Bill and Eddie put together long ago.
You wanted to get it right with Kyle and John. You nailed it. What was like the one moment where you said, yes, I got it. I feel like this is it, or I know this is it?
So Kyle is hyper competitive. And if you go back to our first year together, we started 0-9. And I think we had the most losses by like 4 or less points. It was some crazy statistic, but we were 0-9. And I still felt better about that team than I did about a lot of the teams that we had in the past. And it was just it was that moment of, Kyle, like, we're going to get there. Like, we're not here right now, but we're going to get there. And then we won a game with CJ. We traded for Jimmy and then went on a nice run at the end of the season. And you could see it start to come together and really feel it, and knew that you had a chance to do something special together.
You're in the headlines for nice words said about Mr. Harbaugh, who got the gig with the Chargers.
Very
I,
happy
of course,
for Jim.
immediately looked to see if you faced them this year. You don't. But, you know, he was your coach, and you had success with him. You went, it's sort of similar in the fact that you went on a run with both to a bunch of NFC Championship games. What's the sort of biggest difference, or maybe just even speak to what sets Kyle apart from Jim, or what the biggest difference in their approach is?
You know, I don't even know it's those two. I think Kyle and John are so in lockstep. And unfortunately, I don't know that Jim and Trent Baalke were in lockstep.
And it matters. It matters so much.
And that's the thing. Like, whatever, we're here, this is awesome to be here, but we had a 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season. And that's when you need your coach and your general manager and your team to be able to come together and say, look, no more, we have to figure this out, because you're always going to have adversity in this league, and you have to be able to fight through it.
Yeah, Brock Purdy, what are we not talking about enough? What are we, you know, you're hearing everything, you're seeing everybody. We're talking about his outfits, who he looks like, whether or not he's a game manager. What aren't we giving enough love to? Please.
Look, I mean, what I look at is, if Joe Montana can give Brock props, Joe knows the quarterback position a tad better than I do. So, you know, I think that's enough for Brock to be able to have my seal of approval. But he's a guy that he doesn't care about any of this stuff. He doesn't care about the accolades. He doesn't care about, you know, what fashion trend he's a part of. He's going to go out and do his business, and I love that in him. I love that he is just grounded, focused. He's grounded in his faith, and he's super, super confident. Yeah, when Kyle came and said, this is the guy, this backup's really great, did you lose sleep that night? What were the next couple of nights like for you, be honest? Well, I mean, that was in August, right? So we had 2 quarterback injuries before Brock played. And, you know, if you remember, I wouldn't expect you to remember, but he played some mop-up time when we actually lost to the Chiefs last year, earlier in the season, in the regular season. And Brock came in, and I think he threw 1 ball into the stands. Like, he did not look super great. And I may have been a tad sarcastic with Kyle in the locker room after the game. And it's just like, just calm down. Like, we'll get there. Like Brock is going to be fine. Like, he's going to be really good. And then once Jimmy got hurt and Brock was able to come in and start and really play, like, the team sort of just exhaled, because he can operate the way Kyle needs his quarterback to operate. So it sounds like Kyle needs a lot of, not needs, but it's like you got to calm Kyle down. Well, it depends. That's sort of your role. Well, then how does John, what's the dynamic? That's Lynch's job. Like, that's, John does that. Like, and I would say Kyle's like 85% of it. I'm like 14.5%, and then because you're sarcastic and then you have to walk it back. Like, oh, we shouldn't have said that. Got it. That's. And then we have to calm Lynch down like 0.5% of the time. And like, when you see 4-7 red, like, you do not want to get in 4-7 red's way. And we've only seen that once or twice in the past 7 years. Okay. But when John goes like full like safety mode, that's scary. What's your mentality approaching this game? Do you allow yourself to think about what happens if you lose? No, I mean, it's a football game, right? Like, unfortunately, we've lost 2 games here. We lost, you know, to the Ravens. We lost to the Chiefs. Like, I know what that feels like. I know what that experience is. And you can't think about it like that. It's just a football game. And the difference is, if you lose, you're here and you move on. And if you win, you achieve football immortality. And we need to be focused and calm and present, and we need to go take this thing. Well, I hope you win. Thank you. I'm happy you're here. And I also want to congratulate you on getting a couple World Cup games. Yes, fired up. At your stadium. That's amazing. You had a lot of good stuff going on. So hard work. February 2026, Super Bowl 60. Summer 2026, World Cup. Amazing. Super Bowl 60. Pretty cool for Levi's Stadium. Not bad. We have Torrey Smith who wants to come out here. I'm hearing, I don't have an earpiece in because I went rogue. But Torrey, if you want to come out here, and join us. Hey, Torrey! Two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith is here. What's going on? What's up, man? Hello. Hey, how are you? Good. Thanks for being here. You've been on our show the past couple of weeks. You two know each other very well, and I know you wanted to talk to your boy Jed. Yeah, no, I mean, Jed, that's my guy. I had the opportunity to catch up backstage, but I was giving you your flowers, man. I don't think a lot of people do that enough. Thank you. Because you're in a job where that doesn't really matter. But, you know, when I was in San Francisco, it was a trying time.
for the franchise. You were younger, you were learning, and people were unfairly criticizing you, in my opinion, because the performance of the team wasn't there. We weren't very good. But I think to see what you built one of the gold standards in the league, and to know how hard you worked with your family, your commitment, your love for what you were doing, even when people didn't see it, I think you deserve a lot of flowers for where this team is right now and in your leadership over the course of the last few years.
I appreciate you, man, and I think you know it as well as anybody. Our family loves our players. Like, we want to take care of our guys, and even if they're no longer here, I mean, I get texts from him, you know, in bad times, and hey, man, keep your head up, and that's what matters, right? And you know, now that you're retired from the league, you know, the things that you miss, it's that camaraderie, right? Like it's how much love there is in a building, how much love there is in a locker room. And you know, I don't have love for many people like I do for you, man. You've been awesome. You've been a great friend, and I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, man.
Oh my gosh, what a feel-good moment to start the week here on Radio Row. We'll be back here with Torrey Smith. Thank you, Jed.
Thank
Jed,
you, Kay.
I'm gonna say just Jed. He's like Madonna, just Jed. Jed's leaving.